I'm gonna make 3, okay? Can I? 3 is okay. Okay. I can make more if you want. Okay, so this is me trying to do different style. It's not very I'm very good with the tiny ones. We do the very thick ones in Poland, and this is my regular style. So now my parents are basically, after I won WBC, they were like, okay, well, you can have a job like that. Like, they were like, they agree. But before there was like in Poland, if you want to be a barista, you really have to try, because it's a type of a job that never gets like is not very well paid. It's mostly for students because of the taxes and law we have. So a lot of people that want to be baristas, when they finish studying, so they're like older than 25 years old, they kind of have to stop making coffee because nobody wants to give them like the real job contract, which makes it much more difficult. But then they go to work for the roasteries sometimes. But it's not very easy. And if they want to keep doing coffee, they go to Berlin. Yeah. So there is like a half of Polish baristas living in Berlin and half in UK. Growing. It's growing, but we have more roasteries than coffee shops now, which is like there is no coffee shops to buy the coffee. It makes it a little bit more difficult. And the thing is that we used to have a big problem in our history, which is called the Soviet Union. Yeah, like we basically got freedom in 1989. And when the borders opened, we got like this, McDonald's stuff and all that stuff. And we were like so amazed that we wanted to learn and have it like immediately. So we don't have a style yet. Okay, so this is me doing Polish Rosetta. If it happens. No, it didn't happen. But you think like the main difference is that this is thicker, a little bit thicker. The cup is like huge, which makes it a bit more difficult. I'm not very good in rosettas, as you see. That's why I will never be a world latte champion. Maybe one day. Should I make something else? What else can I do? Don't ask me to make a giraffe. Elephant? It's a Greek guy thing. Like like the Greek guy is making elephant all the time. The Greek guy and the guy from UK. What? From Greece? Michalis Karagiannis. Michalis Karagiannis. There is like whatever Greek guy is competing, his name is Michalis. Yeah, that's true. Like 2016 World Coffee and Spirit Champion, Michalis Dimitriakopoulos. 2017 second in latte art, Michalis Karagiannis. 2018 latte art, Michalis Karagiannis. WBC, Michalis Katsiavos. 2019 runner-up in World Barista Champion, Michalis Dimitriakopoulos. They're all Michalises. This is the only name that exists in Greece. It's Michalis. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What else should I do? I know what I can do. I know what I can do. It's not going to be a Rosetta. If you have questions, just ask, because I can just, I'm an introvert, so if you don't have questions, I'm just going to talk nothing. Like, yeah.
What temperature do you use for the latte?
Well, I try to make the good temperature, which is between 58 to 62 degrees Celsius, the good for drinking. The thing is that in some countries, I saw that the milk behaves different in different temperatures. So in Poland, if you ever come to Poland, the temperature will be like around 60. But when I am in China and I do latte art, the milk behaves much better when it's 45. Yeah, which is like for drinking is like too cold, but like for latte art is super nice. In Budapest, in Hungary, it was almost 72, like almost burned. Yeah, like different milks behave in a different way, and it depends, of course, on the protein and fat content, and if it's like UHT or if it's just pasteurized milk. There's like a lot of different factors. So what I do when I have like my patterns prepared, and I go to the different country, and you always have to try it. So first I try with the temperature from Poland. If it doesn't work out, I go lower, then I go higher, and then I change the amount of aeration to make sure like how the milk behaves. Like different countries will have it in different way. I have no idea about Australian milk, but I think you have higher fat content in here. I think so. Like, Poland is a very cold country. We don't have cows. But basically, most of the latte art should be with the regular drinking temperature. Okay, sorry. Most of the latte art should be able to be created with the drinking temperature. The biggest exception from you was China, which is like seriously 45. I don't know why, but it was just behaving much better. In the World Latte Art Championship in Shanghai, this was the toughest ever. They gave us light roasted, 3 days old coffee. So the moment you make an espresso, there was no crema on it. It was pretty difficult to draw. And they gave us fresh milk, which behaves in such a way that you steamed it, but you thought you have foam, but you didn't. And there was like a lot of competitors that didn't manage to create the patterns because everything was behaving in such a strange way that you needed to like make the aeration around 50% to actually be able to draw anything. It was a totally different experience, and I wasn't that experienced before, and I was just lucky. I just did the normal thing and just worked out, and the other just couldn't make it. You cannot. The thing is just like don't freak out. It's the only thing you can do. Like a lot of competitors, especially those unexperienced ones, when they go on stage and something is different, they just freak out. It's the same as with people ask me, so how do you manage not to be stressed on stage? I am stressed. I just know I'm gonna be. I just know how my body will behave. So when I go on stage, on latte art, my hands are always shaking, always. And my legs are shaking, which is even worse because hands you can kind of hold to your body, but when your legs are shaking, your whole shaking. Yeah, and so basically the worst thing I was doing when I was younger, I tried to stop it. You cannot stop it. The more you think about it, the more it happens. So when I'm on stage and I call time, and I know that my legs are shaking, my hands are shaking, you just have to like kind of agree with that and be able to live with that. Don't ever create patterns that you're not able to draw with the shaking hands. That's for first 4 years of competing, I have never done a Rosetta on stage. Just wasn't able to do that. I always did tulips and hearts, and that's it. And that's how I survived first 4 years. And then I just knew I'm gonna shake. So the moment you agree for that, you can survive it. The moment you try to fight it, it's gonna be even worse. This is the worst thing that a lot of competitors do. They just try to fight it, and then you can just feel them. Yeah, and then they do this whatever on stage. It's not supposed to happen. But the same is in any kind of. I think that the latte art competition is the only one where basically shaking can, like you can see it very much, and you have to find your own solution to that. In barista competition, even if you shake, there is only 4 milk beverages, right? And you do whatever pattern, and that's it. And in the latte art competition, you just with shaking hands, you have to do everything, and you have to just survive it. Coffee and Good Spirit is pretty easy because you have to actually shake at some point, yeah. It's a kind of a flower. The most difficult part in this one is that you have to move the cup and it have to be like 360 degrees.
What sort of grip do you use usually then?
What?
What sort of hand grip do you like?
I have a big hand, so I can just move it.
Do you work from the base?
Well, a lot of people when they hold like this, and this is the moment when you cannot move it, right? Yeah, well, I used to, I have a broken arm from the football, so that's why I can do it. I'm joking now. Like basically, I have a long fingers, and a lot of people just hold it somewhere in here. Yeah, there. Yeah. Yeah, it's I can actually. I was supposed to be a piano player, but didn't work out. What? Yeah, the Chopin is also vodka from Poland. Yeah, like I can do from C to C on the piano, which is one of the things that they supposed to be able to do. But I wasn't patient enough. I only did 6 weeks of the class. So a lot of people hold it somewhere from the bottom, and then you just cannot move it, right? So I hold it in the fingers. So my hand is basically in the same position all the time, and I just move it within the fingers. So if you start from the right position, you're able to do almost, yeah. But it's just you have to be like very confident with the fingers. And if the cup is like this, you see that the cup is a little bit matte. It helps, but if it's like very shiny, it's like it happens all the time. And that's why baristas don't use cream. No, there are like so many different reasons we don't do that. But like a lot of people also like try to. It's more like in a hospitality thing that baristas hold with the how do you call it? Handle, yeah. Because it's much better if you hold it like this. You don't hold anything in here because it's better for the customer. But with those big cups, when you do latte art, this cup is already 270 grams or around 300 grams, and you're putting like 350 grams of milk inside. So it's like more than half kilo, and just hold it within the fingers. It's almost impossible, like to hold it, and you're starting to like tilt the cup, and then the pattern is not working out. So when I was doing patterns from the very beginning, because I was doing only tulips and hearts. So I needed to do something more than, I need to work on the position. So from the very beginning, I was just like moving it. And I just learned to do it in fingers. And for a lot of people, it's pretty difficult to get this movement. It's just a finger move. You can learn it. But like doing 360 degrees Celsius is a little bit more difficult. Because you have to kind of move also your elbow a little bit. But it's not a skill. It's something that you can learn. Latte art is this kind of a thing that you can learn it. You can be the best without this like art stuff. When you ask me to draw a car on a piece of paper, it's gonna be like this. It's like the 4-year-old, something like that. I cannot do better than that. But I have a little bit of the autistic mind when it comes to drawing, because I more or less know how one will react with the other. But if you ask me to draw, like for example, a giraffe, I'm like, how the hell giraffe looks like? And I have to Google it and look at it, and there's like much more to that. Like a lot of people that do latte art most of the time in the competitions and win, they know how to draw on a piece of paper. I have no idea how to do that. What? Have you ever seen a doctor handwriting? It's like that now. It used to be a little bit better. But it's still like, A, K, which is like my name, right? Yeah, it used to be better, but then I went to, university, and you needed to make the notes very fast, because in Poland, I don't know how it is in Australia and the other countries, but in Poland we have very old teachers that have a very old style of teaching. So they do the lecture, they just don't have like any slides, anything. They just talk. And you have to, as much as you're able to write, so that's why you have to write very fast. And the notes are very expensive. If you want to copy it from friends, they're getting pretty expensive. So like my handwriting is very, very bad. You know what's the trick is, if you're doing latte art and you have the place of the at certain point you're not able to do it any better, do it with the opposite hand. Because if you do it with your left hand, there is no muscle memory. And maybe your muscle memory of your right hand is already bad. If you start to do it with the left hand, you can actually see the mistakes you're doing with the right hand. Like my left hand rosetta is like crap, but totally like I do it in a totally different style with the left hand than the right hand. It's a good exercise to basically trick your head a little bit and see the mistakes. Not a lot of people do that.